Hello friends, and a warm welcome to the Slow Living Collective podcast. This is a podcast about slowing down, simplifying your life, living seasonally and embracing an intentional life. I'm Amy, a 30-something mum of two, homemaker, home educator and allotment gardener. These episodes are my journal, sharing what's on my mind and sometimes sharing the things I need to hear myself as well. In these episodes, I delve into what it means to walk a different path in life, to step outside of societal norms and embrace all the beauty that it provides. From educating our children outside of the school system, living with less, and surrounding ourselves with a life of purpose instead of living a life by default. I welcome you into my world, a place where you can rest, relax, and slow down. Come on this journey with me as we open our hearts and minds to a different way of living. I hope you find what you're looking for within the words of these episodes and that they speak to you in your own unique way. Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode on the Slow Living Collective podcast. Thank you so much for being here. I just appreciate you guys so much, and I know I say it every single episode, but I really do. And so I want to ask you guys a favour before we kick off to the rest of today's episode. If you listen to this episode regularly, and I know so many of you do, and I love connecting with you on Instagram, then would you go and leave me a review? I would be so grateful. Listen, I'm not one for asking things, but I know that podcasts live and die by their reviews, and if you guys could just go and leave me a review, I would be so incredibly grateful. So grateful. So if you just have a moment, please. Thank you ever so much. Right, enough of the begging. Let's get on with today's episode. Today, we're going to be talking about living seasonally throughout the winter. And I'm excited. Living seasonally seems so off the beaten track for most people that it almost stuns them when I say that it's actually the norm. It's how our ancestors lived, and it is literally who we were. That is, until modern society fought absolutely tooth and nail to take that away from us. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't wonderful benefits to modern society, but I am saying that it's taking us further and further away from the traditional parts of ourselves, parts of who we are, parts that are literally bred into us. And aside from that, we're forever wondering why we feel certain ways in certain seasons. We know so much scientifically now about the parts of our ancestors that are literally passed down in our genetic code. We know that trauma from our ancestors can manifest itself in future generations. And if that's possible, then isn't it possible for us to still be feeling those natural things that came with living seasonally for our ancestors? And could it be that we just don't know how to identify and connect those feelings in 2023? I certainly think so. There is a reason why we feel tired and sluggish in the winter, and there is a reason why we crave fresh salad in the summer. You only have to look around you to see the rest of the animal world absolutely embracing winter. They don't fight it. They don't try and keep up the same level of productivity throughout every season. They prepare and they adapt for it. Now, Catherine May, the author of Wintering, The Power of Rest and Retreat in Difficult Times, says this: plants and animals don't fight the winter. They don't pretend it's not happening and attempt to carry on living the same lives that they lived in the summer. They prepare. They adapt. They perform extraordinary acts of metamorphosis to get them through winter. Winter is a time of withdrawing from the world, maximising scant resources, carrying out acts of brutal efficiency and vanishing from sight. But that's where the transformation occurs. Winter is not the death of a life cycle, but its crucible. I just think that's so powerful and so telling that when we look around us, every animal is preparing for winter. I mean, we're in winter already, but when winter comes, they're preparing for winter. They act differently in winter. They know there is going to be less resources and less food. They slow down, some hibernate, and it's a different way of living in winter. And it's funny, isn't it? Because at the root of it all, we're animals, and we feel it too, except we live in the modern world where it doesn't allow for these ebbs and flows of the seasons. It just doesn't. We are expected to remain at this high level of productivity, and it's supposed to be this high level of productivity for all 365 days of the year. It doesn't allow for the ebbs and flows of the seasons. And it actually doesn't even allow for the ebbs and flows of our own lives. We cannot be productive all the time. It is not possible. And it's really difficult for us in modern society to prioritize rest. I don't know about you guys, but certainly when the season of Christmas comes around, you're sort of in the depths of winter, I'm done. I'm tapped out for the year, and I know a lot of that can be to do with Christmas itself. It's a very sort of draining season above all else, and but I'm just tired, I'm sluggish, I'm ready to slow down, check out, and just rest. And it's this short period of time. I mean, Christmas can be pretty busy, and it's not long before you're sort of in this intense period of like literally around Christmas Day and everything, and then you're sprung straight into the new year and expected to be back at top productivity. No. It's winter, it is the depths of January, and sometimes we just need rest. Now, I've already recommended it once, but Catherine May's book about wintering is so beautiful, and I want to go ahead and recommend it to all of you guys. It it really goes into, embracing not just winter as in the season, but embracing the winter of your life when you're in a low season, when things are more difficult, when you are overwhelmed and low and just not yourself. And it teaches you to embrace that season for what it is, and don't try and make it something it's not. In the depths of winter, let's not try and make it like summer. We are not going to be as productive as we are in the summer or the spring. We're not going to have the same feelings as we do in, the beginning of spring when we feel so much hope in abundance. We're just not going to feel that in the winter. Winter is a time for slow. It is a time for simplifying. It is a time for retreating indoors. It is a time for trying where possible to embrace rest. And I know I spoke about a lot of this in last week's episode, but it feels sort of natural at the moment to sort of just be talking about this period that we're living through, because I know winter is difficult for many. And I think sometimes we don't necessarily understand why we feel the way we do in the winter, and we try and buck against it and try and like find that productivity. And so today, when I'm recording, I have been to my allotment today, and just for a couple of hours, just to, help the kids get their wiggles out, but, just get some fresh air, some vitamin D on our heads, and just, it was just a short period of time. I wasn't overly productive, but I didn't intend to be overly productive. I just wanted to get out there and just be in the sunshine because it was a beautiful sunny day. And I'm learning more and more the more I follow living seasonally, which I've been doing for a couple of years now, but it's forever growing. I'm forever connecting back to sort of like the way our ancestors used to live. I'm forever trying to connect back. And I'm slowly being able to embrace this idea that not being productive is okay. So when I came home, my husband was with the children, and I came up here with the intention of recording this podcast. And while I'm here recording it now, I spent, I think, about 2.5 hours just laying in bed watching TikTok videos. And was that a productive use of my time? No. But I actually enjoyed it. right? I just wanted to rest. I wanted to rest. I didn't want to read. I just wanted to just do nothing. I wanted to switch off my brain. And a TikTok video marathon was the one. And this is something that I find really important. So I used to be a social media manager, content creator, all of that good stuff. That used to be my job. And I will still consider myself as a content creator because that's what I do. It's what I'm doing now, creating content. So I have like this unique insight into those sorts of things, right? And, there's often this, I don't really know how to explain it. There's often this sort of like, it's always made in like a derogatory way, a comment made in a derogatory way about, like wasting your time scrolling on Instagram or scrolling on TikTok or whatever. And it's like, you know what? If you want some time out and you want to rest, and you actually just want to scroll on Instagram or scroll on TikTok or watch some Instagram reels, watch some YouTube videos, do it. Don't let anybody make you feel bad for it. Goodness me, no. If you want to do it, if that's how you want to like decompress and take time, do it. You're not being graded on your life. Do what you want to do. If you want to spend some time scrolling, and that's the way you want to spend your time, then don't let anyone make you feel bad about that. Get on with your good self. We need to move away from that. We need to move away from people telling us how we should use our time. It's our time. Waste it however you want to waste it. Have you checked out the Slow Living Collective on Instagram yet? We share more than just these episodes there. Whether it's slowing down, simplifying, coaching, mindfulness, meditation, yoga, breathwork, or holistic coaching, there is something there for everyone. So head over to @the Slow Living Collective and get ready to be inspired and encouraged. So we've been talking about winter and why living seasonally can open our eyes to a few different things, and also the different ways that we operate as human beings throughout the seasons. So I want to have the second half of this episode, I guess, talking about ways in which you can embrace winter, both in your daily life, in your home, in the way you eat, in the way you exist. So let's dive into it one by one. We've all heard of hygge, right? The book by Mick Wicken certainly put hygge on the map. But what is it? Hygge originated in Old Norwegian and literally translates as well-being. It began to appear in Danish writing around the late 18th century, and it's something that has been fully embraced in Denmark ever since. While it doesn't translate perfectly from Danish, it can often be attributed to coziness. It evokes feelings of happiness and contentment. And Denmark itself explains hygge as taking time away from the daily rush to be together with people you care about, or even by yourself, to relax and enjoy life's quieter pleasures. It seems like an incredibly hard thing to translate, but even harder for many people to achieve. So think of it this way. It's a way to step back, not get caught up in the busyness of everyday life, to slow down and lean into rest and relaxation. Winter is long and it is dark, and whether you want to follow the notion of hygge or just embrace winter as what it is, here are some great ways that you can bring winter into your home. First things first, soft lighting. Winter is long, it's dark, and it has a lot of artificial lighting. Instead of that big central light, which can be pretty harsh, think about smaller, softer lights, even candles. I love a soft flickering candle, but I don't love the toxic fumes that some of them can emit. In their place, I use battery operated candles, which I feel have the same level of coziness around the home. Now, blankets are another one. A blanket on the back of the sofa or chair, a basket of blankets in the living room or on your bed. Somehow, additional blankets just make everything feel a little bit cozier. And how nice is it on a cold winter's evening to cuddle up in a lovely soft blanket? Fire is another one. The flickering of a fire can make you feel really cozy in the winter, and while we aren't all lucky enough for an open fire, you can have the next best thing on Netflix. I use it all the time, and it just feels nice. And I know for so many people, winter is far more than just wanting to feel cozy. The long season, the darkness of the season, it goes far beyond just wanting to retreat inside and wanting to feel warm and wanting to slow down and rest and recuperate. It's far deeper than that. There are so many people that suffer from seasonal affective disorder, and it's incredibly, incredibly difficult for those people. And so, I'm not making light of this with like, all you need is a blanket and a candle, because, for many, it's far more than that, and it's a really difficult season to get through. Want to know more about hygge and how you can incorporate it in your everyday life? Hygge isn't just for winter, and if you are looking for ways that you can embrace the coziness, the calmness, and just bring more contentment into your life, head over to the Slow Living Collective on Instagram at the Slow Living Collective and check out Carol's insights into hygge. Carol is a qualified teacher and life coach, and now a qualified hygge coach too. Grab helpful hints and tips on how to hygge your life and embrace the cozy today. Okay, moving on. Let's move on to the garden. So winter isn't typically prime gardening season, but there are still ways that you can lean into winter and enjoy everything your winter garden has to offer. Now, you might not want to sit outside while rest is firmly on the agenda in winter, but there are some light jobs you can do, such as mulching your beds and tidying up your garden or allotment plot. If you have a greenhouse, don't underestimate the beauty of pottering around in there with your cup of tea or coffee. It's a little early for most seeds, but over the coming weeks, those early sowings are going to start. So get ready and just embrace that, because I know that's an exciting beginning to the season. And also make a plan. If you're anything like me, making a plan for spring and the next growing season fills me with so much joy, and it really contributes to my mental well-being. If you're the same, then sit down and plan what you want to grow this year and what your garden or plot is going to look like. I promise you, it will bring you the greatest joy. Okay, I want to move on to something a bit more important, and that's you. How to achieve hygge, or how to embrace winter within yourself. And I know this is difficult, because winter is long. We keep saying it, but winter is long, it is cold, it is dark, and it is not the greatest season to be feeling the best. Now I'm going to start with rest, and I know 100 of you just sighed in unison and said, it's not that easy. I know, and I've been at the sharp end of that on Instagram recently. I know it's not easy to just rest. There is so much to do, and so much that needs to be done, and so much to worry about. If only we could rest, eh? So how do I do it? Honestly, I don't always achieve it at all, but I have been making sure that I try and make the time for it, and that is really pivotal. Sometimes I just ask my husband for what I need. I just have to communicate with him and say, I need half hour away from the kids to just be by myself. And it isn't always much, but it is what I need. Now, sometimes I read, sometimes I listen to a podcast, sometimes I'll do some yoga, but whatever I do, I make sure that I try and relax and be calm and embrace the moment, no matter how short that moment might be. And I'm not saying that it's easy. I'm really not saying that it's easy. Finding time for rest is difficult, but more important than that, I don't think we know how to rest. Not anymore. I think rest is something that maybe previous generations have maybe been able to do. Maybe they haven't. Maybe they really haven't. But I think now the modern world is so busy. It's so hyper focused. It's so always switched on. We've got these phones in our hands that can connect us to anyone in this world at any one time. We could have notifications pinging off left, right, and centre. We're always connected. And because of that, it's pushing us further and further away from rest. It's wild to me that I have to even put this in a podcast. And it's wild to me that I have to teach myself how to do it. We have to teach ourselves to rest. Like it's natural. It's natural to do something and then take rest. but it's so alien to us now that we just don't know how to do it. Now, some ways that I find have been useful to help me rest are mindfulness, meditation, and yoga. Those things are really helpful in focusing my mind, and my mind, like, it dips around all over the place. I can be meditating or laying on my yoga mat, and then I can be like, did I get the pork out for dinner? Like, did I put all the names in H's stuff for forest school? Did I do this? Did I do that? Did I order that on the shopping? And it's just relentless. My mind is always talking and always buzzing. But I always try and bring myself back to the moment. And it's difficult and it's always a work in progress. But yeah, rest is ultimately what we need in the winter. We need it all the time because otherwise we burn out. But winter is a time of rest. It is a time of hibernation. It is a time of retreat indoors. It's a time of slowing down. And slowing down doesn't mean doing things slowly. Do what you must and don't do the rest. Now, winter in your kitchen. Winter in the kitchen is a fun one for me because for me, I probably spend more time in my kitchen in the winter. I'm busy baking sourdough or baking bread in my bread maker. I'm baking warming cakes. Like, I'm not going to boast, but mine and H's seasonal apple cake is to die for. In fact, shameless plug here, you can actually find that on my blog. So go to amypigott.co.uk and you can find it right there. But oh, it is so good. It is perfect seasonal food. And seasonal foods are something that we really, really embrace. Seasonal eating is about eating foods that are in season at the time. Now, we have an allotment and, we're very passionate about preserving our harvest as well. And we also have a deep freeze and that definitely helps. But instead of buying an avocado from California that's got to trek all its way here, instead I would purchase something hopefully a bit more local. And that's difficult. We haven't really got a system that is particularly set up for that, if I'm honest. We are used to being able to go to the supermarket and buy an avocado. We are used to being able to buy bananas. Bananas don't grow here. And it's just the norm now. And so to live and eat seasonally is more complicated. And it's one of the reasons why we wanted the allotment, so we could actually embrace more of growing and being able to freeze our harvest as well. So that's something I want to do more of this year, is really be mindful and really be thoughtful in my allotment planning about the things we will eat and how we will grow them and how we will preserve them going forward. So eating seasonally is there's something so fun, for me at least, when you live seasonally and try and eat as seasonally as possible. And let me just put this out there, no one is doing it perfectly. So whatever you try, don't worry. Nobody is perfect. Not on anything. Despite what Instagram might imply, nobody's doing anything perfectly. But winter and that retreat indoors and that retreat into the kitchen, it just feels so warm and so homely, and it just feels like where I'm supposed to be in winter. And I'm a homemaker as well, and the heart of my home is my kitchen. And I love getting in there, making a mess. It's always messy. It's not perfect. It's not a show home. I see people's show home kitchens on Instagram and I'm like, no, that's not what mine looks like. There's always flowers somewhere and I haven't cleared something up properly and there's dishes in the sink even though I have a dishwasher and it's just a mess. But hey, if I'm here to do anything, it's to normalize normal things. I want to normalize the normal. It's normal to have a messy kitchen, right? When you're busy in it, cooking and baking, it's not messy all the time. I do clean it before anybody gets on the high horse. But it's just normal. It's just normal. Normalize normal homes, because my house is very normal. But you know what? It's mine and I love it. I love it to pieces. If I've said it once, I've said it 3,000 times, but winter is long. It is long, it is cold, it is dark. It is normal for us to feel a little more down throughout this season. It's also normal for us to seek rest. It is normal for us to want to slow down, to not do as much, to simplify what's going on, to do things that make us feel a little happier in a season where, it's full of artificial light. Nothing feels great in winter, but spring is coming. Hold on to that. Those of you guys who struggle throughout the winter, spring is coming. Hold on to it. It's a matter of weeks away, and we'll start to feel the warmth of the sun on our skin again. Winter is beautiful. There is so much beauty in winter. There is the beauty of the weather, those cold and crisp summer days with the beautiful blue skies, cold as anything, but beautiful crisp blue skies. There is the beauty of ice. There is the beauty of the snow. Sometimes a little annoying, but it has its own beauty. The trees, they are bare, but there is beauty in them. Inside our homes, we can create beauty. We can create a cozy atmosphere that supports our well-being and our mental health. Winter isn't most people's favourite season, and for many people it is just something to endure, and I completely understand that. And I hope that this episode has been a balance of information, a balance of humour, and a balance of understanding of this is a difficult season. It is a season to withdraw. It is a season to recuperate. It is a season to rest. And if you hold on to nothing else from this episode, please hold on to the fact that wherever you are and however you feel in this season, spring is coming. Lighter days are coming. The warmth of the sun is coming. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. I am so grateful for each and every one of you. I hope you leave today feeling encouraged to go out there and live your most authentic life. Don't forget to connect with me on social media. You can find me on Instagram at lifeonplot44, and you can follow along with the podcast and more at the Slow Living Collective. And I'll see you next time on the Slow Living Collective podcast.